Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Overruled with me, Katie Zed. I'm Katie Zed. Welcome. Welcome back. If you have been here before, welcome. If it's your first time here, I think I see a couple of new faces in the chat already, which is awesome to see. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, today we are going to be talking about a gentleman named Brian Racine, who was unfortunately murdered in Utah in 2018. Yes, I'm Katie Zed. Nice to meet you, Conspiracy Pilled, if that is your real name. Anyway. You guys are already cracking me up over there in the chat. I want to say hello to... Let's scroll a little bit. Oh, I'm the first one to comment. So hello to myself. Hazel423, welcome. Number 2, good to see you. I was a couple of minutes late because I was clipping coupons right before I went live and lost track of time and then had to run in here and get everything ready. Conspiracy Pilled, of course, is here. Nice to see you. Quest Fanning in the house. Hello. I'm so happy to see you, Quest Fanning. Bat Quality Memes is here. Nice to see you as well. News Now Enemy is in the chat. He is actually, if you guys didn't know that, he's my brother. And I saw him this past week and he gave me one of his mugs that I have my North Arrow coffee in right now. So I appreciate that. And man, this is good coffee. Thank you very much. You all go subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. He's in the chat right now. I filled it up too much. I almost spilled it. I would also like to give a very warm welcome to my co-host, Z. She's alive, I promise. And Ava is here, and I had rawhides for them, and I was going to say, hey, if you guys donate, I will give them the rawhides, but they were going crazy right before I went live, so I gave them the rawhides already. So it was going to be like, hey, if you donate $20 today, I'll give them rawhides, but they lucked out. And they got them already, but you can still donate in many ways. You can do a super chat, of course, or you could buy me a coffee, which is a one-time donation, and you could always sign up on Subscribestar, which is a monthly donation. Now that we're done with all of that, I will get into the story. So like I said, today we're talking about Brian Racine. I'm going to go a little bit over what happened first, and then we'll get, and yes, Cena, blink if you're alive. She's ready for her nap, I think is what it is. So, there she is. She's alive. She's seeing to see if the puppy's going to finish the rawhide. So in August 16th, 2018, Brian Racine, well, actually 2 months before this, we'll start 2 months previously. Brian Racine moved to thank you for the super chat. I will give them a milk bone when they're done with their rawhides lit. I appreciate it. We'll show that one. They are good puppies most of the time. Most of the time. They're very good dogs. So 2 months before August 16, 2018, Brian Racine was living in California. He was struggling with his mental health and had stopped taking his medicine that he was prescribed. So he decided to move from California out to Utah, Salt Lake City area. This incident that we're talking about, it actually took place in Ogden, Utah, which is a little bit north. Did I pull up my map? Oh, guys, I didn't have my map ready. Let me get the map ready, and then I'll show you where we're at. You guys know how I'm like geography is my jam. So he moved out there and he decided he wanted to join the LDS Church, which is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And Utah's the place to do it. If that's what you're into, if that's the kind of Christian you are, Salt Lake City's the place to be. Let me click the buttons. I sometimes forget to click the buttons, but I'll click the buttons. All right, so we are in Utah, and Ogden, here's Salt Lake City down here, and then Ogden is right up here. So this is where he ended up, And unfortunately for him, once he got out there, he had trouble finding a place to live. So he went to the church. They weren't a lot of help because he was new. He wasn't even a member of the church yet. He ended up hooking up with some other homeless people. And from what I understand, I've never been homeless. Thank goodness for that. Thank God that I've never been in that situation. But Major Victory is saying Salt Lake City sounds like a place to find plenty of cults. It does sound like that. And I don't want to say that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a cult. However, I think some sects of it, sexed, you know what I'm trying to say. Some of their branches might be a little culty, a little bit. I'm not sure. I haven't done a deep dive into it, so I don't want to talk poorly of their church. It's not my church, so I don't know. Totally lost. See, this is what happens when I talk to you guys. I love talking to you guys. That's why I'm here, is to talk to you guys. Okay, so he moves out there. He decides he needs to find a place to live, and it's kind of dangerous just to be living on your own as a homeless person. So he finds this group of homeless. I guess for a little while he was just living on the streets by himself and was threatened. And it's kind of dangerous to just be living by yourself out on the streets somewhere. So he decided to find this group of people who were also all homeless, and there was kind of an encampment, like a camp over on this 21st Street lake pond, 21st Street pond. So this is the pond, 21st Street pond. So if you're looking at this pond, there's a parking lot over here, and there's a trail that comes up around. And in this wooded area here, there was a homeless encampment. So many, I don't know how many, but several people lived there in tents and things like that. They had, a whole little town set up over there. Quest says he enjoyed the show Big Love. I actually watched that show as well, but you can't really believe what's on TV. I doubt that that's exactly how it was. Maybe in that show, I don't know how many of you have seen that show, but in that show, they had some crazy relatives that were part of the culty part of the LDS. So I think that's why I don't want to speak poorly in general about Mormons or the LDS church, because I know there's different levels of crazy. As in all groups of people, I guess you could say. All right, let me tell you about Cory Fitzwater and Dalton Aiken. These guys, oh my goodness, these guys. So, I also wanted to just one more thing about, thank you very much for this super chat, Quest Fanning. Quest Fanning says, supercragifragilisticmialidocious. Not a question, just wanted you to read it. How poorly did I do on a scale of 1 to 10? Scale of 1 to 10. So some of the things that were said about Brian Racine after his death, he was a son. He was a father to 2 children. His brother did an interview and said that he was the type of person that would give you the shirt off of his back if he thought that you needed it. And 0 out of 10, really? I go with Jess says a 7. I'm going to go with, Quest says 6.5. I'm going to go with probably a 6.5. I think Quest is right. I really mangled the middle there, didn't I? Brian, the reason why I know this is true, because a lot of times when people are killed or die, only people say just like the good stuff about them. But one of the things that some of the other homeless people let us know after the fact is, so he had been homeless for about 2 months and could barely feed himself. But there was a stray cat in the area of this homeless encampment, and he basically took in the stray cat. And even when he had nothing to eat, he made sure that this cat had a full belly, which makes me really believe when his brother said he was the type of person that would give you the shirt off his back, because he did that for just a stray cat, you know. Whereas other people are out there shooting stray cats with BB guns and stuff. This guy had nothing to his name, and he was feeding and let the cat in his tent for warmth and stuff like that. He would sleep with this cat. So it makes me think that he really was a good person and just fell on hard times. I think maybe towards the end of the show, I want to talk about what we should do about, there is a huge homeless problem right now. And I don't know if you guys know this, but homeless people are people. And I think that a lot of times it has to do with mental health. We'll get into more at the end of the show. We'll go into some of that. But I think it really is a problem. And I think we're all created in the image of God, and we need to help people without enabling them. And it's a very fine line between lending a child of God a helping hand and enabling them so they repeat the same patterns, to where they can't get themselves better. All right, Cory Fitzwater and Dalton Aiken. All right, Cory was a 35-year-old guy. He was an Army vet. He served in Afghanistan. This guy, speaking of cults, this guy did talks about being an alpha male. I mean, does that ring a bell to anybody? What's that guy's name that just got arrested in Romania? Forget his name. Andrew Tate, I think. So kind of like that sort of guy. So he's an Army vet. He talked about how society's rules couldn't contain him, is one of the things he said. He had several men start to orbit him and buy into the bullshit. He was, BS, the baloney he was pushing about being an alpha male. And one of the things that he really laid into is how homeless people are just lazy and they just want something for nothing. And she's eating the pillow. I mean, whatever. What are you going to do? Let me show you guys what's happening over here. How cute is that? How can you even be mad? For those of you who are just listening, the puppy just buried herself in a pile of pillows and then popped her head out like it was the cutest thing ever. I gotta stop getting distracted. Mr. Zed doesn't happen to be home right now, so I'm on puppy duty. So this will be fun. But one of the things he talked about is that homeless people, let me find the exact quote. The homeless population was a scourge on society, and they didn't contribute because they were lazy and just wanted to be taken care of. One of the people orbiting this guy, Cory Fitzwater, was Dalton Aiken, age 27. He started spreading these same talking points that he was picking up from Cory, and they ended up really becoming friends, and would hang out together all the time. Insane. It seems like both of these guys just didn't have a lot going on in their lives, and kind of made up a false reality, so that way they felt like they were worth something, maybe. I'm not sure. It's there's got to be criminal psychology that has to go along with this sort of stuff. What? I don't know what she's eating. All right, so since you guys gave super chats, it's cookie time because I gotta distract her from eating the inside of that pillow because it's not going to be fun on the way out, is it? Thank you very much, Quest Fanning and Lit, for the super chats. I got puppy treats and milk bones for Xena. Xena, do you want a milk bone? There you go. Here, Ava, right there. All right. So these assholes would regularly ridicule and harass homeless people that they would happen upon on the street. So they'd just be passing by. If it was a homeless woman, here's a fun thing that they did. They would threaten to come back while she was sleeping and rape and kill her, which is total psychological warfare, because if you're sleeping on the street, you're so far down on your luck. Now you have to worry about falling asleep because these two guys have threatened to come back and sexually assault you in your sleep. And until what happened, they never did come back. So, oh no. I'm going to put on a little video because we've had a little bit of an issue. Let me find a video. I'm going to play you the news coverage of, I can't believe that just happened on camera. Give me just 1 second.
Police have had some big cases on their hands.
Can you guys hear that? Are you guys able to hear the video? Please let me know.
A woman's body was... Police have had some big cases on their hands. On July 15th...
I downloaded it this time. I cannot believe it's doing this. It has to be my computer and not my internet, right?
Police have had some big cases on their hands.
All right, I'll be right back. Are you kidding me? Get outside. Okay, I'm back. I'm so sorry about that. I cannot believe that happened. All right. So I was told that if I downloaded the video, it would play better, but that's apparently not helping. Thank you very much for understanding. And not everybody leaving right now, because I just had dead air for I don't know how long that was. I can't believe that happened. It's not the internet, Jess, because yes, Ava wanted her own stream. Exactly. She did. And she took it. She just went right ahead and holy cow. Let me see if I can get this to play. I'm going to continue with my notes where I left off, and we'll go from there. So, okay, so they would like go by and threaten people, homeless people. It was men. They would do like psychological stuff, like, oh, you just wait until you're asleep and there's nothing you can do. Thank you, Abby. I appreciate it. I'm hoping we can potty train. For those of you, I don't know if I said it out loud or not, but those of you listening on audio only, my puppy just peed on the bed that they were on. If you want to see this live, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I appreciate the super chats. And I'm going to murder my husband for not being here is what I'm going to do. They thought it was a funny thing to go and just threaten people and mess with them. They would like ruin the things that they did have, which is not a lot of stuff. They would go and ruin it just because they could. Just because they could. Which is, it's just mean. They're just mean. They're just big meanie Bobolinis. Okay, so getting to the night of, we'll go back to the map here. Getting to the night of August 15th, 2018, Cory and Dalton spent the evening together smoking weed, drinking, and target shooting on a property that Cory's parents owned. That night, they decided that shooting targets was just not enough fun for him. Or for them that night. So they decided to, it was about 2 a.m, go over to the 21st Street Pond where we were at a few minutes ago. They parked in this parking lot down here and they started to walk around this trail. This is a junkyard, like a used, or not used car, but junked cars or whatever. So they walked around here. While they were walking around here, they were smoking more weed because they wanted to calm their nerves. Oh, she's trying to apologize now. Come here, baby. You're okay. Ava would like to apologize for interrupting the stream. Okay. All right. You're not going back up on the bed, though. Sorry. I can't believe she did that. Cannot believe it. So they walked around there, and unfortunately, remember how I said that Brian had found other homeless people so he could feel safer? Unfortunately, that night, the other homeless people in his camp had left for some reason. I tried to figure out why they left. If I had to guess, it was a lot of homeless people are also doing drugs and stuff like that. I imagine they left to either go to a liquor store or to buy drugs or something like that. But unfortunately, Brian was left there all alone, and he was sleeping outside of his tent. Apparently, it was very warm that night, so he wasn't even in his tent. He was just on the ground next to his tent. And at about that time, shots rang out. I don't know who shot Brian. I have a guess who shot Brian, but I don't know for sure which one of them did it. They are both pointing the fingers at each other. Like, it wasn't me, it was him. I didn't do anything. I had no idea that was even going to happen. I love homeless people. What are you talking about? Of course, once they started investigating and talking to the people that they know, they're like, no, these guys hated homeless people. They couldn't shut up about it. They couldn't shut up about how much they hated homeless people. There's no way that either one of them, the reason they went there was to kill a homeless person. I don't know why they would say they loved homeless people, because it's just ridiculous. As they were walking, one of the things that they said is they could see campfires burning. So they arrived, they smoked some weed as they made their way around the curved path towards the flickering campfire seen from across the pond. Cory Fitzwater and Dalton Aiken were intent on injuring or killing homeless people as they crept through a thicket near Ogden's 21st Street pond to reach the camp. Once they arrived, they found Brian fast asleep and alone. In a twist of fate, the other people who lived at the camp had been away that night and arrived back just after 4 a.m. to find Brian's lifeless and bloody body in the dirt. Immediately after the killing, immediately after they killed Brian, people from the nearby businesses. So this is like an industrial area up here. It's all like industrial. So people up there, it was 4 a.m. People in those kind of industries start work super duper early. So they heard the gunshot and called the police immediately, which is great news because by the time these assholes made it back around the pond towards their car, cops were already on their way there. There was a patrol officer that saw their car parked alone in this parking lot and just kind of sat back and watched it to see what was going to happen. I can't believe how dumb these guys are. Like, I'm going to play some of the, I downloaded it. We'll see if it plays, but I'm going to play some of the, I'm going to play all of it. The interrogation. We have Dalton's interrogation. Cory did what I always say to do and kept his mouth shut, when he got to the police station. Dalton did not. And Dalton tried to play dumb, but he's too dumb to play dumb. I can't wait to get to that part. That's just a preview of what's coming up today. So they get into their car and they start to drive out onto this 21st Street, this main road here, and immediately get pulled over. Now, at the time, the police didn't know somebody was killed. They just know they had calls from a gunshot, like somebody heard a gunshot. That's all they knew at this time. But there's patrol officer heard that come over the radio, saw that car park there, and then, followed it and pulled it over. Listen to how dumb these guys are. They not only were smoking weed, so the car reeked of weed, and I don't know if it's legal now, but at that time it wasn't. It might not. Utah, I'm thinking it's probably not legal there. I don't even think they're allowed to drink coffee there. But they get pulled over, smells like weed. That's probable cause. That's articulable probable cause or articulable suspicion. So they search the car. In plain view on the floorboard was the .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol just laying there out in the open. So these two get taken down to the station. Not for the murder yet. Not for the murder. For having for being DUI under the influence, and the gun was legal, but you're not allowed to carry, even if you are illegal firearms, if you're allowed to have one, you're not allowed to have it if you're drunk or high. So it was an illegal firearm, not because it was an illegal firearm, but because they also had drugs. They were committing another crime. All right. So now we get down to, they also had scratches all over themselves because when they came back through these woods, they just ran and got scratches all over them. So they're kind of beat up and stuff. When they searched them, Dalton had .45 caliber ammo just loose in his pocket. Just kind of sketch. Both Cory and Dalton were taken back to the police station and put into separate interrogation rooms. Okay, here's where we are. I'm going to see if I can get this video to play. And I'm going to click the right buttons in the right order. Maybe. Whoa. Okay. Oh, I know what I did. All right, let me do this because I don't want to share my screen when I'm bringing up my Google Drive. Please play this time.
Police have had some big cases on their hands. On July 5th.
I can't believe this is happening. Maybe if I pull it directly from... I got one more idea, and then if not, we're just going to skip that part, and I'll put links in the description. If I can't get it to pull up, I'll put links in the description of where you guys can go watch it after. It's thinking about it. You ever get frustrated and you click the button a million times and then it takes even longer than it would have? That's what just happened to me. Okay. One more thing.
Now charged with murder after the death of a man in Ogden. We've just learned of the second suspect's arrest.
Yeah, new specials. Tanya Dean is in Ogden, where...
That's not the right one. Of course not.
Murder charges tonight, accused of shooting and killing a man in a transient camp.
All right. So I have two of the videos ready to go for later, but that first one that I was going to play where they didn't know what happened yet, I can't get it to pull up. So my apologies about that. We'll play those other ones here in just a second. We're going to go into when Dalton and Cory get to the police station now. Well, first of all, tell me in the chat, what do you think of this so far? Like this, when I first heard the story, I was like blown away of how crazy it was. How do you just randomly kill a stranger you don't know? It just, I mean, they were saying that the homeless people are crazy, but I think they're probably the crazy ones. You know what I mean? All right. So this is Dalton Aiken trying to play dumb, but he's way too dumb to play dumb.
Got a few things I would like to quickly talk to you about.
You've got to be kidding right now. I downloaded all of the things. I downloaded them. Oh my goodness. Let's close some stuff and see if that helps. Well, this is going to be a very short show if none of my videos play, because that's basically it. that's the show, guys. I'll do that while I see if I can figure out another way to pull this up. No. Does anybody know if there's a way to get to the downloads, or do you just play them from the regular screen? I cannot believe this is happening today. I did all the things right. Nobody. Am I even still streaming? Nobody's chatting. All right, let's do this. I'm so sorry for the delay, but this part is like a main part of what I was doing today, so I don't know what to do if it doesn't work. It wants me to restart my computer, and I can't do that. I can't. Wow. All right. So, what I'm going to do is, do you remember I did Stephen Daniel live reacted to the interrogation just on a separate stream? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna see if I can out and do that. Oh. Wait, just a minute. Oh, false alarm. Okay. If it starts playing again, I'm not going to touch it, and we'll see if it'll just do it. Holy cow. So they get arrested. And then, first of all, Cory goes in. Like, it's just so much better if you could see the way he says this stuff. But he goes in and is like, I don't know what you're talking about. I thought I was just arrested for weed. I don't know anything. And then the cops are like, well, we know that you know something happened out in the woods. And this guy's like, oh, I think I know what you're getting at. I heard a gunshot. Is that what you're talking about? And the cop's like, yeah, and like, and what else? Oh, here we go. I think it's going to do it.
All right, man. So, got a few things I would like to quickly talk to you about.
All right, forget it. That's it.
You are obviously in custody. So, go do the Miranda before I can do that for you, okay? So you have the right to remain silent. Any civil case against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, only be able to present you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand each of these rights I've explained to you?
Yes.
Having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk to us now?
Talk to you?
Yeah, me and detective.
Yeah, I got nothing wrong with that.
We're simply looking to get your side of the story, what's going on here, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's it. We haven't heard what you...
Aiken polishes off his lunch, unconcerned as he has read his rights. He shows no visible sign of being upset. In fact, he almost sounds cheerful as he interacts with the detective.
I can't do that until we get through that part, so. Let's just start off. What will you tell me about what was going on this morning?
Let's see. I got pulled over and
What about before the traffic stop? What were you doing?
Oh, we were walking at the park.
Just taking a stroll in the
park,
park
you mean like the pond
at
and the
3 in
trail
the
and all
morning.
that?
Yeah, what do they call it? The old Indian place where the rivers meet.
Familiar with that fancy term? Do you know what?
I want to speed it up, but I'm afraid to touch anything right now.
But you're on that whole trail complex that's back there behind the one you went in. I think I know where you went in, to where you go across the bridge and the trail goes up and down both ways, right? Okay.
Yeah, so let's see. So if you cross that main bridge at the parking lot, and then you just kind of keep going straight-ish, and then it curves to the right.
Yeah, right there where the two rivers come together.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And you were with, who were you walking with?
Cory Fitzwater.
Oh, no.
Is he family, friend?
Yep, family friend.
The KDZ chat isn't working, apparently. So Restream's messing up.
What time do you think you guys
My
got out there?
computer's messing up. And the dog peed on the bed. This is a great stream today. You never know what you're going to get.
For his neighbor, with the sledgehammer. So we were kind of having a good time, But I think it was I think it was 2 to 3.
Okay.
So his story is he's busting up concrete.
You guys working that late busting concrete too?
Well, we only busted concrete till about 12. They had it jacked up when they were trying to bust it, and it just would bust off a little piece every time. So we just started going to town, and it just all went.
It's good therapy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the neighbor? Where does that live at?
The what?
Where was that at? You guys doing concrete?
So it'd be kitty corner in his backyard.
Thank you for the super
So
chat,
where does-
K-Bot
so
video. I know it didn't come through on the screen,
Yes.
Where does Cory live at?
but I see it.
By Hoagie's.
Oh. Okay, so you guys are busting concrete. Okay, so
I knew I shouldn't have touched anything. It's like a half an hour video, though, so I wanted to speed it up. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Great. And I think I just doxed myself. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so I'll do this on a separate occasion because it's just not working. But okay, I'll tell you about it though. So this guy, the cop's like, "Oh, you're busting up concrete," and he's like, "Yeah, we were just busting up concrete, and then we decided to go smoke some weed in the woods," which I can relate to. I've smoked weed in the woods before. And the cop's like, "Yeah, something else happened. Something else happened while you were out there. We know something else happened." Oh, let's get that off the screen. I don't know why the screen. Cop's like, something happened out there. He's like, oh, I think I know what you're looking for, cop guy. We heard a gunshot, but I didn't think anything of it because I'm kind of country and we hear gunshots all the time. So, but the thing that he says, he doesn't even say that. He's like, oh, did somebody get killed? It's like the cop never said anything about somebody getting killed. Why would you say that, Dalton? He's like, oh, because I heard a gunshot. So, but if you're country and you hear a gunshot, why would your first thought, even in the city, I've lived in the city and there's gunshots all the time. It's the United States of America. No matter where you live, you're going to hear gunshots from time to time. Maybe it's just where I've lived, but I hear gunshots around here from time to time. And when I lived in Chicago, depending on which neighborhood I was in, I heard gunshots from time to time. But your first thought isn't, did somebody get killed? Your first thought is like, oh, that was a gunshot. Well, first thought is like, was that a firecracker or a gunshot? And then you think about it and you either hear other firecrackers going off or you hear, like, there's, depending on like how fast it is or what the noise sounds like, you can kind of tell if it's a firework or a gunshot, if you're familiar with shooting guns anyway. So his story progresses along all the way to, it's first of all, I was just smoking weed in the woods, to my friend Cory has PTSD from being in Afghanistan, and I was just standing there and he shot a guy in the head for no reason. And the cops are just like flabbergasted because they're like, well, did you guys know this guy? It was really difficult for the police officers to understand that these guys just hated homeless people so much to just go out there and shoot a stranger. So the cops were trying to go, the cops did a very good job of using the Reed technique of interviewing, which a lot of police officers use this. This is basically, I'll give you the TLDR version of it. They kind of make friends with the person, get some sort of camaraderie back and forth, and then they give them, they make the suspect believe that we already know what happened. We just want to know why it happened. So they give them the feeling like, oh, well, crap, there's no way out of this. The cops already know everything that happened. And then the next thing that they do is they give them kind of an out. Not an out as in like, I didn't do it at all, but an out like, oh, maybe I can frame this in a way where I don't look like a monster. So the cops will give them a way to frame it to where they're not a monster. So the cops did this in this situation, and they gave Dalton the out of, well, maybe you didn't know what was going to happen, and it was a surprise to you, and the only thing that you're guilty of is not reporting it. And he kind of took this. He took this out and said, "Yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen. Cory went crazy, and I don't know why he would have done that. It must be because he's got PTSD from Afghanistan. And I was just so freaked out that I ran back to the car, and and that's it." Which I don't know if it was Cory or Dalton that actually shot Brian. I don't think we'll ever know for sure. But the next part of the story is where it gets a little crazy. So, he arrested for it because obviously, if you're committing a crime and somebody gets killed, it doesn't matter if you're the one that pulled the trigger or not. I don't know if you guys know this or not. I wish I could talk to the chat right now, but it's not coming through. Might as well get it off the screen until it starts working again. If it starts working, I don't know. There's a way to do it because I've seen it. I just don't know how. It seems like the Hawkhound video or the Hawkhound media channel is working. So if you guys do want to chat, maybe go over to the Hawkhound media and see if it works there. It's, I'll put it in the chat. Give me 2 seconds and I'll put it in the chat. I don't even know if you guys can see the chat, but it's Hawkhound Media on YouTube. Also, you can always go over to Twitch DLive. We're streaming on Rumble for the first time today. Thank you very much, by the way. There's the link for the Hawkhound Media stream. We're streaming on Rumble, on my own Rumble, for the very first time today. So thank you, everyone who followed me over there, so I'm able to do that. I appreciate that a lot. What happens next is they both get arrested, and they're both in separate jails. They keep them separated. Gotta keep them separated. And Cory ends up trying to hire anybody who will listen, anyone, to go to the police and tell the police that Dalton told them, independently from Cory, that Dalton did it himself. So Cory's trying to get somebody to do this for him, and he actually finds a guy who happened to be in the jail that Dalton was at before he got transferred to the jail that Cory's at. And just to give you a little bit of background on this guy, of what a great person he is, him and his wife or girlfriend, not sure, probably girlfriend if I had to guess, but were in jail because they were waiting to stand trial for killing their 3-year-old daughter from neglect. So this is the type of person we're talking about here. I doubt it's going to play. We're going to try it anyway, because why not? Oh, maybe it is going to play.
What's that?
What am I doing here?
Well, you apparently...
Of course not. Of course. Of course it's not going to play.
wanted to talk to us
about
some information regarding somebody you talked to in here about a homicide.
Yeah, this is difficult to get through.
So, what did you want to tell us?
Are you guys talking about Mr. Aiken?
Sure. If that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know which one of you guys are talking about here.
How many people have talked to you about homicides in here?
Just him.
Okay, then probably that one. So what is it that you wanted to tell us about it?
What he told me was what he done was very rude and wrong.
Rude, he says. Rude.
With this guy, he even spoke in him out for a minute. That he did tell me that he... The reason why he did...
Okay, walk me through this. So, how long ago did you guys have a conversation about this?
Like a couple months ago.
Where you when it happened?
Right.
But when
I was like talking to him like through his cupboard.
The cop's not buying this at all, by the way. Oh, I'm not on the screen.
And you were outside of his cell.
Correct.
And how did the conversation start?
It's not a great stream today, guys. I don't even think...
Talking about like Trinity and stuff like that. Then he asked me what I was in.
All right, we're not going to do this. This is
Here for. I told him what I was here for.
Okay, never mind. We'll do both of those police interrogations. I'll just tell you what he says here. So this guy, at least he's on the screen so you guys can see what he looks like. So this guy who killed his 3-year-old along with his wife says that when I was in the other jail with Dalton, he told me that he killed the homeless guy because he was homeless and went through the whole thing about how homeless people don't deserve to live. And if he got out of jail, if he got out of it, he would do it again. He would go and kill all of the homeless people, which honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if that did happen because I think we stopped basically serial killers at this point because it seems like there was no rhyme or reason. They didn't know Brian at all. They only killed him because he was homeless, which is a thing that could lead to, they could have gotten a thrill and adrenaline out of this where they just keep doing it again and again and again. So thank goodness that patrol officer had the foresight to watch that car and like if he would have went right up to the car, they might not have gone back to their car, and then they could have come up with some excuse. They wouldn't have found the gun in there because the gun wasn't in there yet, and that sort of stuff. Excuse me. So this guy says, "Oh well, he do it again." And the cop is not buying it at all. The cop is like, "Oh, well, why would he tell you that?" And this guy says, because I told him what I was there for. So he told me what he was there for. And people don't talk about that very much. And the cop has talked to other people in this jail and knows that Cory has been trying to get somebody to tell the story for him already. And also knows that people tell each other what they're in for all the time. So that really doesn't have anything to do with anything. And then the cop says to this guy, "Well, what do you want out of this?" And the guy is saying that he doesn't want anything out of it at all. He never asked for a deal or anything like that. Turns out he did talk to it. He tried to pull this before with another officer and was asking for a deal, wanted some sort of deal to get out of his own charges. So that was basically the cops listen to everything this guy has to say, like good cops will. They will just they give them enough rope, just giving them the rope, giving them the rope, giving them the rope until they hang themselves. And that's what this guy did. So his story starts falling apart, and the cops go out of the room for a couple minutes, come back, and just like lay into this guy about how he's a liar, he's making the whole thing up, all of that. So because of this situation that happened with this jailhouse informant, this is the reason that I think that Cory was actually the person that pulled the trigger. Like I said, we don't know for sure who pulled the trigger. We just don't know. And I don't think either of them are gonna tell us ever. Long story short, this goes to trial. Cory is sentenced to murder, sentenced for the murder, and gets 15 years, I think it was. Let me get my notes back up in front of me. Yes, 16 years to life Cory gets. And Dalton is sentenced as well to 15 years to life. I don't think that's enough time for cold-blooded murder. It's not as if it was the spur of the moment, like you see in some cases. Like I'm not planning on murdering somebody, but I get so heated and so angry and I snap and I kill the person. It wasn't like that. They spoke about this ahead of time, over and over and over again. They plan to go there that night to kill a homeless person. I think that if other homeless people were in the camp at the time, they may have killed more than one homeless person. I think because Brian was there by himself is the only reason that this wasn't a mass shooting. I think they thought that they could get away with it because if they would have gotten away from the area before the cops got there, I think that it would have went unsolved for a very long time, if not forever. The only evidence that was left behind at the crime scene at all was the shell casing for the .45, also the bullet that was in Brian's head, which is, by the way, that's the evidence that they found to actually convict them with, is that obviously the bullet matched the gun that they were found with that was in the car. So that's the evidence. Like, we know for sure this guy did it. I wanted to talk to you guys, but the chat's not working, about what do you think we need to do about the homeless situation that's in our country right now. It's I don't know if you guys have been to a city lately, but it's getting kind of bad. I noticed it probably about 2016 is when I was traveling to Los Angeles a lot for work. And I thought it was just a Los Angeles thing. I really did. Starting in 2016, I had a job where I would go to Los Angeles 2 to 3 times a year for work. And it got worse and worse and worse over the years. And I had that job up until last year. And it started off with the company that I worked at was right near it was right at San Vicente Boulevard in Wilshire, and there's a big VA hospital there. So under that bridge right there, there was a few tents, maybe five on each side, so like 10 tents. There was a guy who lived in a tent right outside the office building that I worked at when I was there. And he was there the whole time. Like, he had a whole setup. This guy had solar power panels like on the roof of his tent. and you could hear him like watching TV and stuff in there, probably internet. I bet he was there because he was stealing our internet. I'm almost positive that that's why he was like right up against our windows at the company I worked for. And then the last time I was there, which was 2021. Yeah, it was Christmas 20. It was the very end of 2021. Across the street from the office building that I worked at was like a park. And then the highway was right there too. So in between the street and the highway, there was just like open green area. And they were building these like tiny houses, like this whole city for homeless people, which, by the way, I think is better than just tents on the sidewalk. I wish you guys could tell me what you think, but you know, whatever. Sorry about the chat, guys. And it was bad. There was hundreds of people in this park just living there. You could smell it from across the street. I don't know how to describe the smell of a homeless camp. If once you smell it, you know it. It smelled like, you ever go to one of those music festivals, like as a teenager, where people are just camping out there? It smelled like that, but all the time. It wasn't just a 3-day festival. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And I thought to myself, this is just a Los Angeles thing. This is a California thing. And then when Roe versus Wade got overturned, I went downtown to downtown Atlanta, which is the city that I live nearest to. So I drove to Atlanta, and it was here too. It's not just a California thing. It's here too. There was tents all over the place. So I'm kind of glad that I went down to watch that Roe versus Wade protest. First of all, it's hilarious to see these pro-choice people freaking out. And which is another reason why I love North Arrow Coffee, which I'm drinking right now, is that they are definitely not pro-choice. They are a pro-life company. And I think it's amazing that they give 15% of all of their sales. I was thinking it was 15% of the profits, but it's not. It's 15%. Like whatever you spend, 15% of that is going towards pro-life charities, which is amazing. So definitely check them out. It's northarrowcoffee.co. If you use discount code HAWKHOUND, you get 10% off, and 15% of every sale goes to pro-life charities. Once again, that's northarrowcoffee.co, discount code HAWKHOUND. It's really good coffee, guys. I'll put it here. It's very good coffee. I drink it all the time. I actually got my sisters and my mom coffee for Christmas from them, and they really appreciate it too. We're definitely a pro-life family. And man, those protesters, they would have hated this company. So I'm glad that I did go down there, because not only did I support the pro-life side of that protest, which, you know, it was crazy. On my channel, I live stream the whole thing if you want to go see those crazies down there. One more thing I want to talk about just before we leave is that new merch is going to be dropping soon at the Hawkhound store, if it hasn't already. So I've gotten for you a discount code, KT10, if you want 10% off. Everyone's favorite co-host who does not pee on the bed, Xena, is getting her very own t-shirt. So look forward to that coming out. I hope I'm allowed to announce that. If I'm not, I can't see the chat right now anyway, so nobody can tell me. It's hawkhoundmedia.myshopify.com, discount code KT10 for 10% off your first purchase. It might be for every purchase, I don't know, but I know it's at least for your first purchase, so definitely go there, check that out. There's some great stuff on that site already that you don't even need to, you don't even have to wait for the the drop yet. There's some stuff up there now that I think is awesome. This Overruled hoodie. Obviously, this Overruled t-shirt that I'm wearing right now. Look at how nice that looks. Crimeland. I know some of you are more Crimeland people than Overruled people, but we do have the Crimeland merch up there as well. And of course, the coffee mug that I'm usually drinking out of, that I'm drinking out of, obviously, News Now Enemy's coffee mug right now that he got me. But this Overruled coffee mug is only $12.67, and you get 10% off of that as well. Why would you not want to be drinking your North Arrow coffee out of an Overruled coffee mug? I'm not sure why. All right, this ad break has gone on long enough. I think we're just about done here. And I'm so sorry about how everything just kind of, went to crap here the last hour. But what I'm going to do is see if I can get these videos, these two police interrogations. The one for Dalton Aiken and then the snitch guy as well. If I can get it tonight, I will come back and do another live stream tonight that's separate. If I cannot, just look forward to that coming up either sometime this week in the evenings or, over the next weekend. Keep in mind, if you guys want to follow me in other places, I sure as heck would appreciate that. You can always buy me a coffee, or buy Zena a Milkbone, for a one-time donation. I think a couple of people did that today. Super chats are always open. Subscribestar is a monthly subscription service where you can subscribe to my channel. I have one Subscribestar subscriber right now. I'd love to have 5. That'd be great. I would love that. And then follow me on Twitter at It's Katie Z, and there'll be announcements for when I'm going to go live there all the time. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. I'm sorry that the chat was not working, and I will definitely see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye.
First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man, Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Won't you solo go show off your photos, throw out your Twinkies, throw up your ho-hos, tuck in them pinkies, them shits a no-no. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Brought to my attention by the man with the mojo. My 8th subscriber, I'm a bagoso. Jump in them sinkies and dump them mimosos. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Looking for new drills, needed a new track of land. I used to dig the Simpsons, man. Bumping Biggie, Pop, Smash Mouth, and Simple Plan. No scrubs for the crease in my pimples, damn. From the south streets of southeast Michigan, hitting shuffle till I settled on a different jam. And when a dime won't do, a better nickel can. And let me tell you, when I used to dig them Simpsons, man. A funny thing about time, you can't get it back. A tight grip, but it rips the jacket. Slight lisp with a mix of traffic. You see about me, like Mr. Glass, always wished I was a whiz at graphics. Take me back to the past where the hits were massive. You can hear Gladys Knight and the Pips on plastic, misfit molasses. Delete my contacts just so I can stick to glasses. Feel that skipped out, so I miss the classics. Aristotle of the bottle, Seneca of the simple action, senator of the simple maxim. I swear for a skillful Saxon, I'm still relaxing. Who wanna take a dip in the mind sauce, making up for the time lost, forgetting all my passwords when I sign off. Prime bribe, prime rib, Agent Smith, crime boss, popping red pills till my mind's off, mind's off. First Florida man, first Florida man, Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Won't you solo go show off your photos, throw out your Twinkies, throw up your ho-hos, tuck in them pinkies, them shits a no-no. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Brought to my attention by the man with the mojo. My 8th subscriber, I'm a bagoso. Jump in them singles. Threw up that blue pill, moved to a new track. I slew the foothills of that voodoo sap. Microfiche tape decks, I'll sift through that, cause I'll do anything to get the old Simpsons back. Give me the news that make my mood react. I'll swim through the sewer just to make it to the truth intact. And you can shine up that voodoo with new shellac. I'll still do anything to get the old Simpsons back. Imagine thinking Karl Marx is new school Klingon like Huzu. They welcome the ways they can bring on the boots, dude. Declare a major, they get paid to pollute you. Self-ashamed neighbors never gaze when they scoop you. I wonder how we fight it. The sixth step is never enter in my tent uninvited. The fifth step is produce, no skills is no use. Fourth step, community preference is unity. Third step is nation, it's somewhat location, mostly relations, that's the situation. Next step, family, patriarchal sanity, safe under the canopy, ain't a place for anarchy. First step, I just got to say it, no showboat. Step back and soak up the logos. First Florida man, Endo de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Won't you soak logos, show off your photos, throw out them Twinkies, throw up your ho-hos, tuck in them pinkies, them shits a no-no. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Got my attention by the man with the mojo. My 8th subscriber, I'm a bagoso. Jump in them sinkies and dump them mimosos. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Hernando de Soto. The first Florida man was Hernando de Soto. Got my attention by the man with the mojo. My 8th subscriber, I'm a bagoso. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida man was Hernando de Soto. First Florida